Happy New Year, Courtney.
Happy New Year.
We made it last night to midnight.
We did, which we almost never do, but we have some friends around, so we hung out with them until like 11-ish, and then figured might as well just stay up, so.
That's right.
But it was still very chill. We got to see the fireworks and sunsights, which was so much fun.
Which I did not photograph in any way, shape, or form, because I'm horrible, I'm terrible.
But it was fun.
In every way.
So.
Yes, it was.
And had a delicious dinner, which Steve did take a photo of, so maybe he'll put that there.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Happy 2021, everybody.
We have some really cool things planned for this year. And it really, it's all going to be around here on property. For example, right out there, we are thinking about building a 1,000 square foot house that we're going to move into. And this house might then become our guest house. Nothing there. So we would be starting from scratch, from the foundation level, building an off-grid house with our own two hands. I'm not exactly sure of the details yet. Courtney is still doing some of the mapping out of where things would go and how big and what it's going to include and things like that. So it's still very early, but we want to get that process rolling, and I'm going to document that entire process here on the channel. Building a house from scratch. That's kind of cool. And one thing I think you know, that the only resource that we are somewhat concerned about around here is the water. So the power is good. We'd love the solar to working out great, but the water isn't so great yet. So we've considered, well, what if we do a well? Wells are expensive. Wells need maintenance. Wells dry up. So now we're thinking maybe back there where we have a 1,250 gallon tank, instead of just having a 1,250 gallon tank, we might install a big boy, like a 16,000, 20,000 tank back there, and just do it. Just do it right. Just get a whole bunch of water and be good for years, even if we don't have any more rain. There's lots going on around here. It's gonna be a fun year.
Ooh. Sausage.
These are our favorite sausage. My dad got them. Farmer John maple pork links. We don't do breakfast almost ever, but since we have plans, we want to be fueled up this morning.
We're going hiking, aren't we?
I think we are going hiking, so
A New Year's Day hike.
seems like a good way to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna heat up some waffles from the other day and some sausage, and maybe a couple eggs.
Nicely fueled.
Yep.
You too, Patty. We're not going to forget about you.
That's why you're sitting in the air.
Now we have the finished product. A couple of sausages, some eggs, some waffles with some maple syrup. Mm-hmm. Breakfast time.
So, I'd like a sharp knife. These knives are the opposite of a sharp knife. Does this seem weird that these are the opposite of sharp knives. They're dull. They're dull. So, this is a cool little knife sharpening kit that I got for Christmas that I asked for. It's one of those manual knife sharpeners. So the knife fits into these little teeth here, holds it into place. And then what you do is you use these little angles. There's 30 degree, 25, 20, 17, and that's the angle of your slice, effectively, when you sharpen the blade with these
Stones, right?
little stones, yes. What you do is you stick one of these little pins, or, I don't know, metal pieces, in the stone. This is the coarse stone. This would be the very, very fine stone. And then you hold it carefully, choose your angle of attack. I usually do 25, and then all you do, just over and over and over again. The idea is, with every side of the knife, you go from coarse to a little bit finer to a little bit finer. You just keep switching out these stones until you get a nice, fine, sharp edge on one side then you flip the knife over, do the exact same thing on the other side. So you go from the handle to the tip, and you have to make sure that you really get the end of it too, because that's what a lot of people forget. Very manual process, but it gives you a lot of satisfaction that you have sharp knives when you're done, because it's not exactly an automatic thing. It takes some effort, some elbow grease.
But you chose this over an electric one.
I did, because I like the way this sharpens, and I get exactly the sharpness that I'm looking for. And how do you know when your knife is sharp enough? Well, when you go through the stones, it starts off really rough. You could just hear it grinding against the blade, but then it starts to get smoother and smoother. That's when you know you can transition to some smoother stones. By the end, when you're done, when you think you might be done, what I'd like to do is just take a piece of paper and the knife you just sharpened and see if it cuts a nice thin piece of paper. As you can see, this cut a nice thin piece of paper. So this is a sharp knife. I am happy with this. I'm happy the way it turned out. And now I can move on to the next one. So before we end this video, I want to give you a quick look at what we're thinking about for the house that we might build. Courtney's drawn up some plans. We put out some flags out here with a tape measure just so we can get a feel for where this house might be. So here we go. So the house is back there with our solar panels. So what we're thinking is right out here in front, you see a flag there, you see another flag over about there, and then the house would go about 45 feet that way. And the idea is we would have a nice long 45-foot stretch facing south against that mountain there, so we get all the sun in the wintertime. And we get to use a little bit of passive solar going on to make sure that we can heat and cool the house without a lot of power needs, without a lot of power draw. Because that's one thing, obviously we're not hooked up. We do love solar, it works great, but the more we can use the sun and the environment, well, of course, the better. So this new house would only be a short walk from the soon-to-be guest house up there. We might steal some of the solar from our current panels because we won't need as much over there, but of course we'll need a whole bunch here because this is where we would be living. And there's another idea for out there, closer to our property line. But I'm not going to talk about that yet because I'm not sure that it's going to happen, but I hope it is, but maybe not, but maybe so. That was incredibly clear. This new house would be about 1,200 square feet. That house is between 950 square feet or so. So we would be upgrading a little bit, changing the configuration. Courtney really wants a dining room table, for example, that we don't have in there right now because of the layout of the house. So we're going to take advantage of doing all this work to make it perfect, exactly the way we want. And then our guests will have an amazing place to stay when they're down here. Okay, that feels like a good ending point for this video. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time. Happy New Year, happy 2021. Let's make this a good one.